My name is Chris and welcome to my son's nursery. In this video I'm going to pull some old video off the shelf that I never had a chance to edit and show you how I made this pipe shelf. If you'd like to see it, stick around. I made this shelf for about $40, but it can get considerably more expensive. I saved a little bit of money by buying a 10-foot length of pipe and having the ends threaded. If you buy them in prefabricated nipples, they can run anywhere between $3 and $5 a piece, but you can get a 10-foot section of this pipe for around $8. Stick around.
So we're expecting a new baby in February, and my wife has me doing a couple small projects for the nursery. So the project I'm doing today is just a two-tiered shelf, and the theme that my wife is going with for the nursery is a, what do you call it, rustic industrial travel theme. So a lot of deep blues, a lot of industrial type metal, and anyhow, she has me building a shelf. It's going to be stained with a light golden oak, and I ended up going the hard route on this, so I bought a full 10-foot length of black iron 3/4 inch pipe and attempted to thread it myself, and the pipe kept slipping in my vise and just wasn't working. So I actually took it back to the box store and ended up helping a customer pick out his plumbing parts for a hot water heater while the guy threaded the end of my pipe, and he ended up not charging me anything because I helped the customer out. But anyhow, so if you were to want to do this yourself, it involves 8 6-inch nipples and 2 10-inch nipples, and then 4 couplers, 4 90-degree elbows, and 4 wall flanges. And then I just took a 12-inch board and ripped it down to 8 3/4. And I'm just going to drill some holes, and it's essentially going to cantilever on top of one of these couplers and sit between it and the wall. So I wasn't planning on doing a video on this, but it's a pretty quick project, so I figured I'd share it. So now that I've got my shelf ripped to the final width, I just want to leave at least an inch of wood on the outside, because like I said, it's going to be cantilevered, and I'm going to space these, so it's going to go on the wall like this, and I'm going to space it 32 inches apart so I can get this thing mounted right into some studs, and then the shelf ended up being 34 inches long, so that I have 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch of wood surrounding the pipe for it. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and mark those holes and then bore them now. Just going to mark 7.5 inches out from the inside of the board. And 32 inches on center. So I cut these 34 inches long, so I'm just going to come in an inch from each end. So this pipe's kind of an awkward diameter. It's 1 and just about 60 thousandths, and my biggest Forstner bit is 1 inch. So I have this circle cutter. I'm going to give it a shot, and I've got it adjusted to about 1 50 thousandths of an inch, and I'm going to do a test cut and just see how that works. Otherwise, I may be stuck doing a 1-inch hole and then sanding to get my final diameter. I'm really not a fan of this thing. This giant bar just swinging around here close to my knuckles. I feel like I'm going to catch myself on it. Nice tight fit though. Maybe a little too tight. So the stain color I'm using is minwax golden oak, and I had to laugh when my wife told me what color she wanted this thing, because normally when I do a project for her, I tease her that I might as well paint it black, because she likes like deep ebony and very, very dark stains to the point where you can barely even see the grain in the wood. I like kind of like an early American, a semi-dark type stain. So when she asked me to use a lighter stain, I was kind of surprised. But I guess industrial goes really well with light wood, so that's what we're going with. Sorry, I keep kicking the cord to my light and it's flickering. And I'm not doing it because this is supposed to be an industrial piece, but you see how the end grain is staining a little bit darker? One of the ways you can get a more uniform color on your finish is if you sand the end grain to a higher grit than you sand your facings. So for example, I used 220 on the facing. If I were to have gone up to 320 on the end grain, and then when I apply the stain, I'd actually get more of a uniform finish. So last night I put a coat of stain on the shelves. Now today the only thing left to do is assemble it and put a clear coat on it. I think I'm going to clear coat the metal also to prevent rust as it may go into storage in a humid environment at some point, or I really just don't want this thing to rust over time. So I'm going to put some polyurethane over everything. But first step is to assemble it. So like all good projects, I made a mistake and my shelf is a little bit too wide. I think that's just because of a variance in the thread depth. And so I'm going to take about 1/4 of an inch off the width of the shelves because I want the pipe to be up against the wall and I don't want the shelf to be up against the wall.
Welcome back to the Benchtop Micro Shop. Thanks for watching today's video. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and there's plenty more videos for you to check out. If you're curious about how I've laid out my shop, almost the whole process has been documented in video, so be sure to check that out.